Welcome back, y'all, to the Nourishing Women podcast, your go-to podcast to get your period back and get pregnant. I'm your host, Victoria Myers, period recovery specialist, fertility dietitian, and owner of the virtual coaching practice, Nourishing Minds Nutrition, where we work together to restore your fertility. Now, today, if you are tuning in to listen to this very episode, I'm going to guess one of two things is happening for you. That number one, your period is like full on missing. It's been missing for months or maybe even years and years, or ever since you came off the birth control pill. Or number two, you do technically bleed sometimes, but your cycles, they're wildly unpredictable. You have really long follicular phases. Maybe you never get confirmation of ovulation. You have short light bleeds, short luteal phases. Your period is a mess. There are problematic periods happening. And if you're trying to get pregnant, I know how heavy that feels, because when your cycle isn't working, it feels like your whole dream of becoming a mom is on hold. So today I want to walk you through what I teach inside of my fertility trainings and what we really do and how we help our clients, the framework and unique methodology that we use in our practice, because this is the part I believe no woman with period loss or unpredictable cycles ever gets told, and I want to fix that today. Your missing period, your unpredictable cycles, they are not the root of the problem. It is a symptom. And what we need to do is stop obsessing over the symptom and finally treat what's actually causing it. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. I'm going to explain why these root causes shut down your cycle, signs that you might have these root causes outside of just period loss alone, and then what it all has to do with the same result, which is some amount of either hypothalamic dysfunction all the way to hypothalamic amenorrhea, meaning that there is a brain-ovary miscommunication and depleted hormones. So let's dive in with root cause number one of three that we're going to address today, which is a damaged metabolism. So when it comes to damaged metabolism, this is like the one of everything, honestly, everything today is something that no one's ever addressing or talking to you about or even testing for. But this one is just so interesting to me because your metabolism is the foundation of every system in the body. Your metabolism is essentially how well your body takes raw material from food and turns it into energy. And listen, I know when it is occasionally talked about to talk about metabolism, it's most often a reference to weight loss, but that's not what we're doing at all today, because metabolic health is about so much more beyond just body recomposition or your fat to muscle distribution or, again, weight loss. It is so important for so many systems in the body. It is so important specifically for our conversation today of period and fertility recovery. And what the problem is when it comes to your metabolic health is that your metabolism, your body rather, is metabolically adaptive. For better and for worse, your metabolism adjusts to the environment it's put into. So if you've spent years under fueling, restricting, living on diet after diet, putting every bite you eat into MyFitnessPal, you're extremely disciplined with how many calories you eat per day, how many macros you consume, you are the clean eater, right? You exercise intensely and you rarely ever take rest days. Or maybe even for you, you're balancing between yo-yo dieting or restriction and binge eating. In all of these scenarios, again, your body has adapted. Your metabolism has either slowed down, become less efficient, or over time has become damaged from the amount of dieting whiplash it's experienced. And what happens over time of a slowed or damaged metabolism is that your body, because it is metabolically adaptive, learns to survive in the environment it's put into. Your body starts to conserve energy because it is simply trying to survive. And what is the first thing your body is going to do when it's in survival? It's going to shut down non-essential systems in the body, your reproductive health, aka your period and your fertility. And it also affects so much more than just your reproductive health alone. But really, unfortunately, if you think about it, pregnancy is not required for survival. Pregnancy is not like the thing that's deemed necessary if your body is literally under the pretense, I am surviving, I am in a famine. When in survival, your brain is not thinking about things like, can I produce a baby right now? Can I go to the bathroom daily? Instead, it's focused on surviving. It's focused on your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your brain's like basic functioning, and just basic energy production. Fertility, unfortunately, when your metabolism becomes damaged from the years of underfueling and over-exercising and yo-yo dieting and disordered eating, fertility becomes optional. So how might you know if you have a damaged metabolism beyond just a missing or an unpredictable cycle or problematic periods? Some signs that this may be you when you're experiencing this is cold hands and feet. I see that with like every client we work with. I also see this all the time. Low body temperature. Constipation or slow digestion is what 95% of our clients experience when they come to us, as well as bloating or indigestion. You may be experiencing fatigue or afternoon crashes, that feeling as if like I have to have a Diet Coke or coffee to survive the day. You may have a low resting heart rate and have been told, hey, that's because you're an athlete. And while there is some truth to that, it's also because your metabolism has slowed down. And because your body, again, is metabolically adaptive, it is surviving off of less, a low resting heart rate. You may feel like your body gains weight easily if you don't follow this very rigid, disciplined approach to your food and exercise. And again, of course, your cycle is missing, long, unpredictable, or problematic. So if you're struggling with that or any of the symptoms I just mentioned, you may have a damaged metabolism. Okay, up next, root cause number 2, depleted nutrients. This one's sneaky because so many women don't even realize that it's happening to them. I know you've probably heard to this idea that you just need to eat more to get your period back and to get it consistent and to restore your fertility. But in our practice, something that makes us really different in the period recovery space is that's just not the approach that we take. You don't need to just eat more. Like, I'm not going to ask you just to eat 30 donuts a day to get your period back. I'm just not going to do it because I know you need to eat more of the right foods that support your fertility. And you need to replenish what's been depleted. And what's been depleted is kind of a twofold picture. Number one, your body is nutrient depleted because you've been focused so much on low calories and counting your macros and being as clean as possible. But really what that means is you're just eating like protein, fruits, and vegetables. And while there is, of course, beneficial nutrients in those foods, you do need to eat more than just that to get all the nutrients your body really requires for optimal health, but for fertility especially so. And not only are we, really not focused on the right type of nutrient focus when we are dieting heavily, but secondly, almost all women, I would argue all women with period loss and unpredictable cycles struggling with infertility, they have a very stressed lifestyle. Like, these are very stressed people. So their body's been in a state of stress for years and not focused really on getting proper nutrients in the diet. And also because of the high stress, you are depleting your nutrients so much more rapidly than you realize. With every hair tissue mineral analysis or HMA that we do with our clients, we see it so clearly in the picture of how their labs come back. Like, they are so depleted in the proper nutrients and minerals for that test specifically that their body needs, again, to thrive, but also to have proper fertility. So fertility is so much more than just calories. It requires key nutrients, and we have to think beyond even replenishing these nutrients and replenishing from the high stress, but we also want to think beyond just ovulation and hormone production. Of course, for our clients, that is the main cause of their infertility, but we also want to think, how do we make the eggs as healthy as possible that will eventually potentially become your future baby, right? We want to think of egg quality. This is including and really emphasizing in the diet key nutrients like iron, vitamin D, vitamin B12, magnesium, zinc, sodium, and potassium, omega-3 fatty acids, folate, and antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E. So again, if you've been eating in a way that's super low calorie, low carb, low fat, that's a big one, highly restricted, this kind of perfect eating, but what that really means is that you're eating 1,200, 1,500 calories a day and just focusing on protein in the diet, or even potentially you've cut out food groups in the name of health or even fertility. You're not eating gluten, you're not eating dairy, you're not eating sugar. It is extremely likely that you've not only damaged your metabolism, but you've also deprived your body of key nutrients for hormone functioning and the material needed to make healthy eggs to create and develop a healthy baby. Now, some signs outside of period loss that you might be nutrient depleted is that you are frequently sick or experience frequent illness. You have slow recovery from your workouts, frequent injuries, headaches or migraines. I cannot tell you how often we have clients come to us that are like, oh, I have headaches. I'm like, okay, give 2 weeks. Once we give you back your HMA protocol, every single time their headaches are gone. It's incredible. That one's one of my favorites because it's always something that they never expected to get a positive benefit from our work together. Some other signs is fatigue, poor sleep, anxiety, brittle nails, your hair's thinning or you're losing clumps of hair. You may also be having GI issues like constipation, bloating, or instead of kind of the fatigue, you might be wired and tired, like you cannot rest no matter what. You've been told you need to gain weight, stop exercising, or do IVF to get pregnant with no period. What if I told you that's not actually true? You're tracking your food, working out, trying everything to be healthy, but your period is still missing. And now, pregnancy, it feels impossible. I know exactly how that feels because I've helped hundreds of women get their period back and get pregnant naturally. Inside my free training, I'm walking you through the exact 5-step method that's helped women like Lex, Lauren, and Stephanie restore their fertility in 90 days or less without extreme weight gain or giving up on movement. You'll learn what's really causing your missing period, why food freedom is essential for fertility, and the customized approach that actually works, even if you've tried everything. If your dream is to see 2 pink lines and hold a baby in your arms, this training, it's your first step. Click the link in the show notes to watch the free training. It's time to restore your period, your fertility, and your hope. Now let's get back to today's episode. Okay, up next, the third unexpected root cause that we are going to address today is nervous system dysfunction. Now, this third root cause is one of the most overlooked and honestly one of the biggest missing pieces for high achieving active women, for my people specifically. And y'all, I say this from a place of like, I'm in your shoes, I'm right there with you. To this day, even though it's been 11 years since I've gotten my period back, this is the area where I am consistently still focused on improving because I have so much work to do here. So I'm right there with you. So when we're talking about the nervous system, there's actually multiple types of nervous systems within your body, but specifically in the conversation, whenever you hear someone say like nervous system regulation, we're talking about the autonomic nervous system and its control over the 2 modes, parasympathetic, or your rest and digest, or your sympathetic, which is your fight or flight mode. And a healthy body can move in between both states, appropriately staying in rest and digest the majority of the time, but being able to appropriately, when warranted, move into fight or flight. What happens though when you're under chronic stress, which can come from over-exercising, under-eating, perfectionism, it can come from anxiety, trying to control or manipulate your body, right? Trying to be as small, as skinny as possible at all times. The pressure to do everything right and to be perfect, the fear of weight gain or extreme body distress, like all of those gets your body stuck, either in fight or flight. Again, it's stuck in actually high cortisol output. But what also happens over time is your body, your adrenals specifically, cannot keep up with that amount of cortisol output. So then you become stuck in a state of burnout or freeze because your body is now creating too low of cortisol output. And again, we see that in our clinical picture of our lab work, specifically a stress profile, and our HMA also points to adrenal health with our clients too. Either clients are just like producing way too much cortisol or they are just completely tanked. We see it over and over and over again. Now, some signs that you might have nervous system dysregulation, again, outside of just period loss, irregular periods, or problematic periods, because again, with any of these, that is always a given. Like if you have that, you have these 3 root causes, no matter what. But some other signs might be constant anxiety, irritability, racing thoughts, constant perfectionism and people pleasing. Like I hear all the time, like, well, if I gain weight, what are people going to think of me when I walk into church that day, or when my coworkers see me, or what are they going to think if my eating changes, or I'm not at the gym with my friends that I exercise with. It's also the feeling of like I can't relax, like you're constantly fidgeting and doing things, even when you're at your house, right? Like you can't even let yourself sit down and watch a TV show or read a book. Maybe even the feeling of like you have to earn rest You're using exercise as a coping mechanism for this extreme stress that you constantly feel. You're burnt out, but you can't slow down. You're wired and tired. You may be struggling with insomnia and just in a chronic state of worry too, not only about everything that's going on in your life, but about your period health and your fertility. You may even be spending hours and hours researching things, kind of in a manic mode, trying to figure out what's going on. But information doesn't really change things, right? Like you can research till the sun goes down, but it's not going to lead to action. And action is what changes things, not just learning more and more and more. I think information is so valuable. Knowledge is power, right? But we want to make sure that we're taking it beyond just knowledge and truly implementing. So one thing I want to say kind of at the end of this with nervous system dysfunction specifically is normalizing that, like, hey, like if you're type A, high achieving, active woman, like this is so common. You're not alone. Again, I know I started off the root cause talking about that, but I get that you were carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're trying to do everything right, and your body's just responding exactly how a body responds under chronic stress. And that's why we must address this and really look at your fertility is kind of like a whole body approach to health so that you can get your fertility back. Yes, the goal is ultimately a positive pregnancy test and holding a baby in your arms. But again, to achieve that, we've really got to think beyond just period recovery and how do we truly support your body from a holistic approach. So when we are looking at kind of all three of these unexpected root causes, a damaged metabolism, depleted nutrients, when we're looking at nervous system dysfunction, they all create the same outcome. This is why with each of these, I was like, hey, in all of these scenarios, you're going to likely have a problematic period, an irregular period, or you're having no period at all. Because in all of these situations, when the metabolism is damaged and your nutrients are depleted, when your nervous system is dysfunctioning, your brain stops communicating with your ovaries. This is what we call brain-ovary miscommunication. Your hypothalamus in your brain is the control center. Its job is to assess safety. So when the brain senses not enough energy, not enough nutrients, too much stress from under eating and over exercising and just simply the way that you live life, it shuts down the entire hormone cascade that leads to ovulation. That starts off with your hypothalamus producing GnRH, which then triggers in your pituitary gland to create FSH and LH, which then tells the ovaries to mature follicles, leading to increase in estrogen levels. As we increase in estrogen, this allows your pituitary gland to release a surge of LH. This triggers ovulation. After ovulation in your luteal phase, you produce progesterone levels, which then creates a healthy luteal phase. It also is what thickens your uterine lining, what creates a healthy cycle because you're bleeding enough and you're having a long enough bleed. Again, short, light bleeds are problematic too. So all of this to be said, when your body doesn't feel safe, that entire hormone cascade gets disrupted. And that's why you are seeing, as a result of all these unexpected root causes that we discussed today, it's why you're seeing an entirely missing period. It's why you're seeing irregular cycles. It's why you're seeing long follicular phases or anovulatory bleeds. It's why you may be experiencing short luteal phases, spotting, thin uterine lining, low libido, and boom, what happens next after kind of this domino effect that happens because of these root causes and then this brain-ovary miscommunication is depleted hormones. Because when that brain-ovary communication shuts down, hormones drop, right? Estrogen drops. Progesterone becomes low to non-existent because you're not ovulating. But even further than just estrogen, progesterone, or even FSH and LH, your thyroid slows down. Cortisol becomes dysregulated, and then the symptoms expand beyond fertility into your whole body. This is why period loss is never just about your period, or certainly that's how we approach things at our practice, because we want you to feel good as you become a mama. It's also why depleted hormones are so vital to address because it impacts every area of your life. You may not know this, but you actually have estrogen receptors in every cell in your body. And that's why when we have low estrogen, because of everything that we just discussed and more, it impacts bone health, cholesterol, digestion, mood, libido, sleep, metabolism, energy. Like it affects everything. Heart health, like everything becomes affected. Brain health. So the ultimate question here today, as we are wrapping up this conversation, is if these are the root causes, then how do we actually fix them? Because I think this is where most women get stuck. Because again, coming back to what I just referenced earlier, information doesn't get you pregnant. action does. But most importantly, we need to be taking the right action. You probably have taken some action, let alone like all the research and all the information you've learned, which again is great. And we want to take it beyond that, beyond even just, taking a few actions. Maybe you've added a snack in, you've added a rest day in, you're eating more healthy fats like avocado. But we need to take things beyond that to really understand what the body needs. And that's why our clients get such quick and phenomenal results. This is exactly what we do inside of Premier Peer Recovery for Fertility. We don't just tell you eat more and stress less. No, we repair your metabolism. We replenish depleted nutrients, we regulate your nervous system, we restore brain-ovary communication, and rebuild healthy hormones so that you can ovulate consistently and also have healthy eggs and a healthy body that feels safe enough to get pregnant naturally without relying on IVF, without giving up all exercise, or without excessive weight gain. With that shared, and this being our first episode of February, this is being released on February 3rd, I'm so excited to officially announce that our February spots, our limited spots inside for February for our Premier program, are officially open as of today. So if after listening to this episode, you're ready to stop guessing and you want a clear, proven path to getting your period back, to ovulating regularly, to fixing all of these root causes so that you can do a whole body approach to restoring your fertility so that you can get pregnant this year, your next step is to apply. And you can do so with a link in our show notes. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, if this episode resonated with you in any way, please take a screenshot of you listening, share it on Instagram, tag me, and tell me what root cause you feel like you're finally connecting the dots on. I'll see you in our next episodes for February. We have a really fun one coming in 2 weeks, kind of talking about some connecting dots a little bit more specifically with your metabolic health. And also, we're going to do a bonus episode on why AMH is not a reliable predictor for women with period loss struggling with infertility. Until then, know that a nourished body is a powerful one.